Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about something fun, the Aftermarket Gone Wild. These are several different toy lines we're going to take a look at. We're going to see stuff that is going crazy insane on price, whether it's an insane asking price because it's the only one in existence for sale, or it's something that actually sold for a crazy asking price. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to take a look at several different toy lines, and we're going to look at these items, or in some cases, collection of items, coming up. Alright, so first of all, I want to talk about the vintage Star Wars Power of the Force Anakin. Very clean looking figure. Sold for Australian $12,600, but US $8,000, which sounds about right. I remember a listing in the early 2000s that allegedly had this, and then a yak face carded, and another figure carded, but the pictures were messed up. And back then, the limits of technology, but it went for $300. So this thing has come a long way. I do remember these going for $4,000 for a while, but $8,000 sounds about right. But I could see these going for even more in the future. Next, we've got the Droids Animated Boba Fett mint on card rare. This one went for $5,143, and this is not Power of the Force. It's not Return of the Jedi. It's the Droids line. And there was a time where nobody really cared about the Droids line, including myself. And I saw it going, and I actually thought about buying one for about $300 back in the day, just to have a Boba Fett carded. I found the ones I was looking for. Turns out this one is now commanding a higher price, in many cases, than ones on an Empire or Star Wars card. In some cases. Now, this is something that you don't see much of, because there's very few that actually have a full collection of coins, asking price of $45,000 for all 62 of the Power of the Force coins, and only 17 were new characters, and the rest are coins made for older characters. And the reason why these are so hard to get is because some of those other characters have been remade many times, so they didn't make as many of the characters. Like a Gamorrean Guard didn't get produced as much in the Power of the Force line nearly as they did in the Return of the Jedi line. Same with all these other characters that were just reprinted on a second, third, or fourth print on the Power of the Force card. $45,000, best offer. Alright, next up we have the Kerma sealed Jackhammer. And I was actually surprised to see that this is the highest, the most expensive vehicle that has been sold. It actually was taken down as no longer available, but they were asking $2,088, and I'm sure they sold it probably somewhere in the ballpark of that. I was kind of shocked, but one thing that somebody pointed out to me in one of the toy shops this past week when I was on my road trip was that everybody expects the rare stuff and the bigger rare stuff to be expensive, but the smaller ones at the lower price points, most of them were opened. So somebody pointed out a Piranha goes for some money, and it is the second highest one at $888. So it sold for $888. Or it ended $888, another one that was taken down, no longer available. So very expensive to get Piranha, and Piranha takes up several of the high slots, which really shocked me. But it's got to be sealed. All right, another Aftermarket Gone Wild. This is the Filmation Ghostbusters Command Center Shopper Grail, 99% complete. Now the thing about this one is that there's rumor and question how many of these were produced. Some say only 250. I don't feel like it's that rare, but it is super rare. And it's one I probably will never own it because I don't care enough to spend $3,200 on this. Now, I do usually see them sell for about $2,000. I saw a whole collection, like an entire collection that included this, sell for $2,600. So this one here, it's missing a part, I guess. Here's the inside. Looks pretty darn complete to me. And I wouldn't mind having one of these, not for that price, but it is a very impressive playset, excruciatingly rare, and I do understand why the aftermarket has definitely gone wild on this guy. Next up, the Power Lords Vulcan Rock. And we're also going to look at a collection, but the Vulcan Rock itself, I actually had the opportunity to buy a sealed one for $500. I didn't realize it would be that valuable. I thought, well, if a sealed one's $500, then I should be able to get a loose one for $300. I'd rather have a loose one. And lo and behold, it sold for $2,795. So That is impressive. That's gone wild. But I have to say, getting a loose one complete is almost impossible. Seriously, you might have to buy a sealed one and open it up to get a complete one because they are so hard to get. Mine's not complete, but hey, I'm happy to have one. Here's the box from a different angle, but the box itself is kind of cool. It's way thinner than I thought. Obviously, you open the shells and it's laid in there flat. Pretty cool though, pretty awesome, but very expensive. Now this is really awesome. This is a full collection of the Power Lords. Now they're missing one of the green beast that you can ride, but pretty much everything else is here except for the Vulcan playset. So almost a complete collection, and some of this stuff you just don't see sealed in the package. And even Back Attack, you barely ever see that thing complete. Most of these you do not find complete at all. And to have them sealed in the package, and then of course having those big beast machines in the package, very impressive. Most of it's sealed. I think 2 of the beast machines are open, but new contents. This is $5,500 or make offer, and it is very impressive. I've never seen this big of a sealed or nearly sealed collection before. And then you have the backs. What really attracted me to even looking at this lot was to get to see the backs of the card backs. This is back in the day when you could see the whole toy line on the back of the cards, and then as they had more figures, they had to add more figures to it to see the progression. Still fun. Power Lords is an amazing toy line, and I really look forward to Nacelle putting their figures out. $5,500. Alright, next up we have Lono. This is a Battlematic, light up eyes, orange hair variant, and the orange glove, the orange sword. I had a little trouble putting mine together, and I have to admit that I probably paid too much trying to track down everything individually. I thought I was slick because I had the orange glove already, and then I was like, oh, I just need the sword and then the orange-haired figure, and I put it all together, but I didn't keep track how much I spent. But most people ask for $100 for one of these loose and complete with the correct color sword and glove. This one sold, sealed, $3,260. And that's very impressive. I'm shocked. I would think, $600, $700. I didn't think $3,000, but it is a variant, and so there's not that many out there. And even in this condition of the packaging, I can understand now why somebody that's really been wanting this, is like the thing they wanted the most, would pay that. Next up we have Stinger for the Thundercats. Now this is a Rampager. This is one of the later ones. I paid $300 for mine with no wings, and this is $3,000 sealed. Big difference, in my opinion. I'd rather pay the $300. But the only way to get one original with perfect wings is to get it sealed. That's my belief. I believe that. I've never seen one with perfect wings that's loose. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but whoever has one loose complete with perfect wings is not going to be selling it. So the only way to get one is to buy one sealed. And this is $3,050. And then we get into something else that's a lot of fun, and that one is the Tonguesaurus. So Tonguesaurus is almost impossible to get. It's one of the late ones that it's huge too. It's massive. It's a big one. You can see it kind of compared to a He-Man figure there. So if you lay down a carded He-Man figure, Masters Universe figure, Origins, that's about how long this thing is. And then the tongue comes out and all of that. This thing sold for best offer $3,200. I imagine best offer was within a 10 to 15% range, probably $2,800. Okay, here's a toy line you don't hear much about. It's the Black Hole, based off of the movie from the 70s, and this is a character called Old Bob. Now, Old Bob is sort of like Vincent, except a beat-up version of Vincent, sort of. I'll go more into that when I make a Black Hole video. But I want to say that this figure is really hard to catch and track down because it wasn't released in the US, released, I believe, in Canada, in the European countries. And it is $1,511, 52 bids. This is the AFA 75 Series 2 from Italy. And then you've got one other figure that beat it out, and it's a sealed humanoid, meaning that this figure somehow was sold at retail even though they say it only had a prototype. You can see right there, it's got a price tag on it. It was sold at retail for $1.99. Right? Well, sold at auction or a listing. It hasn't sold yet. They're asking $9,831 for a carded one of these. Generally, people are asking like $1,200 to $1,300 for a loose one. Okay, next we're going to get into some Silverhawks. Silverhawks are historically expensive, but looking through what's available to buy right now, and looking through what's available to, well, what's already sold. This one is the Skyrunner vehicle with Monstar and Sky Shadow for $799. $800 for this thing loose. And I'm not even sure if it comes with the missile. From the pictures, I can't tell if it comes with the missile. I don't even think it's complete. And it's sold for $900. It probably does have the missile, and somehow I'm missing it. But I'm missing the missile. $800. I got mine in rough shape for $125. But things are going crazy on the aftermarket. Here is the Quicksilver ultrasonic suit. Now, this is one of the last figures they made, probably the last figure they made, and wasn't available anywhere, really. It was very small availability for this guy, and he ended up selling for, well, I don't think it's sold yet. This one is still up for sale for $3,692, and eventually it will sell. I'm curious. I do see these pop up sealed for around the $3,000 price point, but I never really follow through to see if they've ever sold, and there's none in sales history. So when it gets to Transformers, you're looking at the top of the price range for Transformers. What you're always going to think about is Megatron, and I've always heard Megatron went for a lot of money. I've seen an auction where in the 2020, 2021, during that boom, they were selling for $20,000, and that was, I couldn't believe it, but people were paying that. This one is up for sale for $8,500. It is an AFA 75Q-EX plus NM. I don't know what all that means, but it's up for sale right now for $8,500. There's another one on there for about the $8,000 range, so I guess that's the new price for these to be. I believe it's sealed. But I was like, okay, well, what's sold for the highest price? And what actually sold was Optimus Prime. Now, okay, it's not a big shock, but this sold for $23,821. Sold. $23,000 for a sealed G1 Optimus Prime, and makes that $35 for a KO1 look like a good deal. But this is the real deal and the official and AFA 85. Alright, so I have a lot of fun looking at stuff like this and talking about stuff like this, and I'm going to ask you guys for a little bit of homework here. What other toy lines, what figures, what has sold recently that is aftermarket gone wild? I want to see what else is out there. I want to do another one of these videos probably in about a month, and I want to do different toy lines. I don't want to just do the same toy lines. I want to do different toy lines, and let me know what you guys think. Was this fun? Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Titanium Hanger out.